Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Welcome to the Doghouse, Cleveland Browns Insider Podcast here on Spreaker.com. Andy McNamara alongside Browns Insider from WKYC Sports in Cleveland, Matt Florjancic. Matt, the third preseason game, the dress rehearsal, is tomorrow. It's Saturday. And today we're going to go through, we're going to play GM, we're going to play coach a little bit here, and we're going to rank the offense. We're going to give our Cleveland Browns depth chart going into the season. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Man, you know what? It's we're going to also chat about the most famous elbow in the world, Johnny Football. The arm, the mystery, the elbow that has rocked Cleveland Browns fandom, rocked the dog pound, and has forced the Browns, who had to go out and get Pat Devlin, who was helping coach a high school in Pennsylvania, whereas the Pittsburgh Steelers need some depth and they get Michael Vick. Just a little bit of just another shot in the arm for the franchise.
Yeah, absolutely. Outstanding week from the quarterback perspective.
Oh.
You get Johnny having the bad news and not being able to practice, and then him potentially being shut down for the rest of the preseason, which might not necessarily be a bad thing, but when you hear a coach say, oh, well, we were going to give him first-team reps against Tampa to get him out there, but now we can't play him, it's kind of like, okay, are you placating the fans? Are you placating the media? Or are you serious that you were going to give him first-team run? Because if that's the case, then this isn't a minor setback. In my opinion, that's a major setback because you can't not play against a first-team defense in the preseason, go out and think you're going to lead the team to 12 wins in the regular season. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that says to me that although Josh McCown and Coach Pettin hasn't officially said it, but Johnny had a shot at being the starter opening day. That's what that says to me. That says to me if Johnny went out, balled out on the third preseason game, McCown lays an egg, there is a legitimate conversation to be had that Johnny Manziel could have been the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns opening day. That goes out the window. So, you know what, Matt? Let's start with the depth chart right now. We're doing the offense today, beginning with the quarterback, and really on a good team, the depth chart with Josh McCown would probably start at number 3. I guess we put him at number 1. That's where we're at.
You don't have much of a choice right now.
No.
He's your number 1. Johnny is obviously your number 2. And then look at number 3, you bring in Pat Devlin. I think that's a camp arm to get you through that fourth preseason game, and he'll be a roster cut. But then you got to look at, okay, Connor Shaw is down. Do you keep Thad Lewis? Do you play the waiver wire game and just keep 2 quarterbacks and hope that you get one from another team? Do you have Terrell Pryor make this team and be your emergency quarterback over Thad Lewis? Because right now their emergency quarterback is Taylor Gabriel, and 6'5", 224 as an emergency quarterback looks a heck of a lot better than 5'7", 165.
Yeah,
I don't think we're running the wing T offense here. So this has to be a discussion that will be had in Berea. Do you keep Pryor because of what he can give you both as a wide receiver and as a quarterback, or do you keep a guy like Lewis or a guy like Devlin, who Lewis has a very, very small sample size, and Devlin has never taken a snap at a regular season game, and have them be your emergency quarterback when over the last 5 years you've played at least 3 quarterbacks a season, knowing full well that a Pat Devlin and a Thad Lewis will probably end up getting at least one start for you under center.
Can we take prop bets? Can we take a prop bet? Last game of the regular season, because you know it's not going to be Josh McCown. It's probably not going to be Johnny. It's always the third quarterback. Who's going to be the quarterback to take the final game for the Cleveland Browns this season? Like it might be Taylor Gabriel, Matt. It might be Taylor Gabriel. That's how disturbing this quarterback situation is for the Cleveland Browns. I think Vegas should pick that up and say, hey, here's the prop bet, and give a list of 3, 4, 5 guys, because it could be it could be Pryor, maybe Gabriel. I don't know. Somebody else?
The scary thing is I don't think that player is on the team yet.
Can we bring back Alex Tanney, the garbage can guy?
As truthful as I can be, the guy who will probably end up starting Week 17 against the Steelers on January 3rd at First Energy Stadium is not on the roster yet.
A mystery man. I say bring back Alex Tanney. Listen, he could hit those garbage cans, the trick shot.
He
why
was
not?
discussed in the media room. We were trying to figure out when they said he was going to be shut down. We're like, okay, let's go over the recent quarterbacks that we've had that are free agents, and Jason Campbell, Josh Johnson, Alex Tanney was brought up among the media, and it was kind of a joke. But then we looked at it and we're thinking, well, this team does go through quarterbacks, very quickly. It's well within the realm of possibility that a guy like Tyler Thigpen, a guy like Caleb Haney, maybe Rex Grossman won't come here because of what they did to Shanahan, but that's a different story. But Tyler Thigpen could seriously end up being the number one guy heading into Week 17.
Well, Grossman didn't want to come here.
All sorts of bad.
Remember, Grossman didn't want to come. He had a family engagement last year when Shanahan was here. He chose to not take a big paycheck to go on a family outing. That's how much of a mess it was here in Cleveland last year for the Browns quarterback situation. By the way,
don't kid yourself that there wasn't a discussion between him and Shanahan where Shanahan said, "Hey, I'm going to be gone here. Trust me, this is a cluster, and you don't want any part of it."
Wow.
I understand it's a big check, but you're going to get hurt, and you're going to get hurt bad behind this offensive line.
Wow. Well, and now he's following Shanahan to Atlanta. Want to hear from you on Twitter. You can hit us up there at AndyMC81, at Matt Florjancic. Email the show, thedoghousshow@gmail.com. Give us your depth chart for the Browns offense. We'll hit the defense next week. And, of course, thoughts on quarterback. Johnny Manziel, where are you at with Johnny? We'll get to that a little bit later on. That's going to be an ongoing topic with Johnny Manziel, of course. So, okay.
That's the topic that it's the gift that keeps on giving in terms of football talk, sports talk.
Is.
It never stops.
Never.
No matter who you bring in, no matter what you do, Johnny football is always on the mind of somebody.
So, I think we're in agreement. McCowan as the number one on the depth chart. Johnny number two, Elbow or not. And then Thaddy Lou as number three, and then we'll have to be determined for whatever other arms they bring in there. All right, so let's go to...
and please remember, too, that we're taking what's already on the team and putting it together. But this is not what we initially would want for the team if we were putting the depth chart together. That would be a fun game to play around draft time.
No,
we're gonna have to make a note of that.
Yeah, mental note that this is what we have to work with. This is it, folks. All right. Hashtag fail for Cardale. Just putting it out there. Running back position, which was supposed to be the strength match. This was supposed to be all right. You build on the offensive line drafting Cam Irving. You have a game manager in Josh McCown. You have possession receivers, no real big playmakers. The running game was the hope. What's happened through camp? No running back has stepped up. The running back coach has called out and says nobody wants to be the starter. You have drops. You have inconsistency. So I'll roll through the running backs quickly on the roster right now, Matt, and then we can rank, let's say, the three deep, okay? So we got the Crow, Isaiah Crowell, Sean Drone, Timothy Flanders, Duke Johnson, Luke Lundy, and Terrence West. Oh, and Glenn Winston. Give me your top three.
And Jalen Parmalee as well.
Oh, and Jalen Parmalee. Yeah.
They all look the part in pads, but when they step on the field, it's really disturbing. Crow struggles to catch a pass. He looks like he's trying to wrestle a grease pig out there sometimes when he turns to make a catch, and he looks so uncomfortable. And you look at Terrence West, and he's playing against air, and he can't hold on to the football. So I'm really concerned about the running backs as a whole. I think they relied a lot on the hope that Duke Johnson would be the guy, and he pretty much missed all of training camp, so I don't necessarily know that you could go in counting on him being the guy.
Yeah, we don't know.
And I'll give Sean Drawn credit. The man has a cast on his left hand, and he's still out there trying to catch passes. And he even joked with the media one day because he sort of got hit in the face after the ball ricocheted off his good hand. And he's like, I don't even know why they're trying to throw to me right now. But he's out there and he's playing and he's showing that he wants to be a contributor. And he's really the only guy out of the top three, because I would put him in the top three without Duke Johnson, that has really emerged as a guy that even wants to be here. Crow seems like he tries hard. Terrence West is an every other day, what kind of Terrence West are we getting type of player.
Yeah, we saw that last year too.
It's a problem that's continued. It's a lot like what they're going through with Justin Gilbert. Is the maturity ever going to catch up to the talent? And you have to say the answer right now. The early assessment is no. It's not going to meet the talent. And thus far, he drops on my depth chart. I'd say Crow 1, Drawn 2, and West 3. Then you factor in Duke Johnson, and I'd say that if Duke has any kind of play in these last 2 preseason games that shows anything, he'll supersede Crowell, and he'll actually take the starting job with Crow being a spot back and West being relegated to whatever they can get him on the field for, which would most likely be special teams. But then again, you can't use Duke Johnson as a 1, 2, and 3 down back because
that's not his game. He's supposed to be the
because
scat
it's not
back.
his game. But you don't have anybody to come off the bench that can catch the football from a running back spot.
Matt,
so you're really kind of hampered. And if Duke Johnson's your guy, you almost need to carry a fourth back like a Glenn Winston or a Sean Drawn, just so you have an option on third down that can actually catch the ball in the backfield, because you don't really have a lot of confidence in Crow and West. At least I don't after watching practice. When they have to catch the ball, it's not pretty.
Well, no, and Duke Johnson was really brought in as supposed to be a Darren Sproles type. Maybe use him on kickoffs, and punt returns as well, and be that speedy scat back on third down. So if you have to elevate Duke Johnson to your number 1, that's a big problem, because you need somebody who can hold on to the ball. Isaiah Crowell still slips and seems to get ahead of himself sometimes too in practice. It's baffling. Now, Matt, when you look at this group of running backs, does anybody stand out to you as being better at pass protection? Because that could be a leg up in the depth chart conversation as well. Who can help protect the quarterback?
I think Duke has a long way to go in that regard. I watched them one-on-one with the linebackers earlier this week, and I really wasn't impressed because they seemed to have a pretty good beat on where he was going to block, and they beat him with relative ease. I would say that out of all your backs, Crow's not a bad blocker. West picks it up pretty well. And if he's into the game plan and, motivated, he actually can be a pretty good blocker because he is by far the most solid of the 3. He's the stockiest, he's the heaviest, but he's not slow and fat like a fullback would be more of that type, but he is a cut, muscular player that can wrestle guys to the ground. And I think he would be your actual prototypical blocking back. The problem is you need him to flare out. And it's a 50-50 shot whether he's going to catch it or hold on to it. And most of the time he'll catch it. But if you set him up where you're going to lead him a little bit, you can't let him get drilled. And I have a feeling that there are going to be some passes that sail on him, and he's going to get caught against an outside linebacker, and he's going to pay the price.
And these running backs seem to be a little delicate, too. They got to start drinking some more milk, eating some yogurt in practice, because these hammies are all over the place. All right, I'm going to rank the running backs. I'm going to go as Isaiah Crowell. I'm going to say I'm going to go with the Crow, ranked number 1. I'm going to go with a little blind faith here that he had 8 touchdowns last year, that he's going to be able to step it up as the guy you can hand it off to on first and second down. Now, catching out of the backfield, as you said, different story. I'm going to put Duke Johnson number 2, Terrence West number 3, and Drone at number 4. That, of course, with injury, that can all change. And because I just think for Sean Drone here, Matt, it's about, okay, he is more of the emergency back to me because he's not really explosive. He's good at everything, but not great at anything. And so that's
he's a very serviceable back, but he's not going to be a guy that you tout as the bell cow. They're hoping it's West or Crowell. And if they haven't figured that out after 4 weeks of practice and training camp, all the hope in the world isn't going to help them when they get to September 13th. It's either going to be there or it's not. And if it's not, you have to move on.
And that's supposed to be the strength of the offense. Wow. Okay. So that's the running back position. It's discouraging, but the next position group looks hopeless. By the way, you're listening to The Doghouse. I'm Andy McNamara alongside Browns insider Matt Florjancic from WKYC Sports in Cleveland. Tweet us your thoughts. Where do you rank this offense as far as depth chart per position? At AndyMC81, at Matt Florjancic on Twitter. Email The Doghouse Show, DAWG, thedoghousshow@gmail.com. So the hopeless spot, Matt, tight end. You had Jordan Cameron, bye-bye. And I'm not one to get really caught up on, Jordan Cameron's gone, because he wasn't available. He had that one good year, and yes, had all the talent in the world. He could not stay healthy. So him being gone, the Browns had to live without him anyway. But right now, The tight end position group looks like this.